Hey guys, and welcome to Olivia's Catastrophe. I'm Olivia and I'm here to tell you what I read in the month of June. Now, June was a very busy month for me. I read 6 books, which is not quite my average, but it's still a very good and decent number. I am satisfied. To be fair, June was the month that I moved out, that I went back to the Netherlands to visit my family, and then went to Barcelona with my friend, and then came to Alicante where I'm currently at filming this and au pairing. And when I was in the Netherlands I was also working in the nursery, so I was so busy in the month of June that I didn't get much time to read, and when I had time to read I wasn't really in the mood for reading. Nonetheless, here are the books that I read in June. So the first book that I read in the month of June was Circe by Madeline Miller. Circe is a book about this Greek goddess actually, who is called Circe, and this book pretty much just follows her life as we get to see it, as she's a Greek goddess, and just the people that she encounters and what she's going through and her thoughts and feelings as she reacts to a lot of events that happened in Greek mythology. It's a pretty straightforward book. I really can't say more than that happens, but I absolutely loved reading this one. I've always been interested in Greek mythology ever since I read Percy Jackson, but to read a bit more of an adult, actual literary book about Greek mythology was really entertaining. It's not like the author is teaching you about Greek mythology, it's more Circe's story, her journey as a mother, her journey as somebody else's lover, her journey as someone who has been exiled and rejected by those who she is like. It's just so interesting and it crosses a lot of themes. I really don't feel like I can describe this one very well. It's very character driven and I really highly recommend it if you like Greek mythology, if you like deeper meanings to your books, and if you like character driven reads. Then the next book that I read was actually a reread, and I reread Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I usually reread this one pretty much once a year, and this time my buddy read it with a friend of mine who had never read it before. It was really great to go back into the world of Twilight and just to see the Cullens once again. My thoughts always shift a little bit when I reread Twilight. It's about this girl who falls in love with this vampire. If you didn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know, but if you didn't know, she falls in love with this vampire, but she's human and that leads to some problems, and they're very angsty with their romance. It's kind of problematic on a lot of levels, but I still really enjoy it, as my 12-year-old self first did when she first read it. What bothered me more about reading it this time was Edward's mood swings. They really got a bit on my nerves, and also Mike's persistence, even though she rejects him time and time again. I think that's probably brought out more in me because my buddy reader who was reading the book for the first time really picked up on those things and didn't like them. So they bothered me a bit while reading, but I would still give this book 4 stars, maybe even 5, because I just love it. I just love what she's done with the vampires, a unique take. Edward is still perfect in my opinion. He's overprotective, but I still love him. And I really love Jasper. You don't get to see much of him, but he's a brilliant vampire, and so is Carlisle. I just love these books so much. Moving on, then I read Riven by Rowan Parrish. This is a new adult novel and it follows Theo Decker, who is a rock star. He's the singer of a band and he's very, very famous, but although he loves the music, he really hates the fame. Then he meets his love interest, who used to be a rock star, but now he's a quiet farmer. He went to rehab for alcoholism and addiction, and he's just trying to stay clean and keep away from all of the fame. So him and Theo Decker being a couple is not going to really work in that case. It is an LGBT plus new adult read. I haven't read one of those in a while since all the drama with Santino Hassel went down. I kind of stayed away from the whole genre, which is not how you're supposed to take things, so I'm trying to ease my way back into it. I did like this one by Rowan Parrish. It's amazing because it's a romance read and there is no miscommunication whatsoever, and I was just like, wow, a romance without miscommunication, is that actually, you know, a thing? Does it exist? But Rowan Parrish made it exist. I enjoyed it, but I would just say there was no plot. Like, it didn't feel like there was a huge plot problem. It just felt like characters solving their love issues, but not as it being a major plot issue, but just getting through it, because there's no miscommunication, there's no real angst here. So I felt like there was no plot, but then I do like character-driven reads, so I did enjoy the character arcs and seeing how they both developed as people, dealing with this problem of being famous rock stars who don't really enjoy being famous. Then I read V is for Virgin by Kelly Oram. I've read a book by Kelly Oram before, which was Cinder and Ella, and I absolutely loved it. V is for Virgin is about a girl called Val, and Val decides that she wants to be a virgin until marriage, not for religious reasons, just putting it out there, it's just for personal reasons that she decides this. However, when her recent boyfriend dumps her because she won't put out for him, she goes to school the next day and he's making out with someone else and she yells at him, "There's nothing wrong with abstaining from sex until you're married." Somebody makes a video of it, it goes viral on YouTube, and all of a sudden she's starting the V is for Virgin campaign and the A is for Abstinence campaign, where she's trying to say you shouldn't feel pressured into having sex. If you want to have sex, that's fine, but if you want to keep your virginity, society shouldn't be pressuring you to do otherwise in secondary school. And she also makes the abstinence challenge for those who aren't virgins but want to, you know, have a challenge of seeing what it's like to abstain from sex for a little while and see how long they can manage it. It was amazing for me because I've just never felt so represented in literature before. I don't think I've ever read a young adult book that is not religious fiction but has a character who is abstaining from sex for personal reasons, and just to see that huge difference for me was phenomenal, because I am all for sex positive books, but you know, feeling represented yourself sometimes is also just really just something else. Like the feeling, you can't really put it in words, but once you have it, you'll know what I mean, and it's kind of great. I think the book handled the topic very well. When it's a topic like this, you can be worried that it might get very, very preachy or overly done, and it's kind of like selling you morals and not telling a story, but it's clearly telling a story, and she shows the even side of both things. In no way is she saying that sex is bad and you have to keep away from it, but in no way is she saying you have to have sex if you're a teenager, you should be pressured into it. She's trying to show you that you have a choice and you have a right to make your own choices. It was a really good story, there was a good plot, the ending was a bit abrupt, but there is a sequel that I'm very much looking forward to reading. I have to admit, Carl, who was sort of the love interest, sort of not, I can't really define who is the clear love interest in this book, I really didn't like him. He was just a bad character and he pressurized her a lot, and he just did so many bad manipulative things. And although the book kind of sells it like, oh, he didn't realise what he was doing, he had good intentions, man, I'm not buying it. If you're treating a girl like that, out of my life, please. I also read In Search of Us by Ava Delara. This is written by the person who wrote Love Letters to the Dead, and although I haven't read that one, I did read this one for review. This one follows Angie and Marilyn. It switches between those two perspectives, but Angie is Marilyn's daughter, so you get to see Marilyn as an adult through Angie's perspective, and then her as a teenager in Marilyn's own perspective. And it's about Angie, who has never known her father because her father is dead, or so she's been told by her mother. However, when she finds a photo of her father and her uncle, she then realises that her uncle is alive, and that means that her father might be too, so she goes on a trip to LA with her ex-boyfriend to find her uncle and find out the truth about her father. That's basically the premise of the story, but because you're also getting Marilyn's point of view, you get to see kind of the events that led up to the situation that Angie finds herself trying to figure out. And I did like this one, but I just wish I could have loved it. I think the beginning and the middle were quite slow and the ending was really great, but the fact that I had to sludge through the beginning and the middle to get to that great ending made it not the best read. It was still entertaining and it was enjoyable and it's got some good themes in it, but I wasn't in love with the characters and the plot just felt kind of okay to me, so it wasn't one that I was overwhelmingly in love with, but I didn't hate it either. It finishes on a beach, and I finished reading this one on the beach as well, so it was a really nice atmosphere to be reading this one in. And then the last book I read this month was Heartland by Kimberly Stewart. This was another one I read for review. I believe the main character's name is Gracie. I'm terrible at remembering characters' names. And she is a fashion designer, or want-to-be fashion designer, who lives in New York, and she's from this small town in Iowa, but she's trying to make it big. However, her plans fall through the roof and she ends up returning back to Iowa, where she starts up her own dress selling business online, selling dresses on Etsy. However, when this takes off, she gets the opportunity to go back to New York and start making her dreams come true. However, she's just gotten back with Tucker, who she used to date when she was in Iowa before, and going back to New York could mean the end of their relationship. Suddenly she has to choose between love and her dreams. Again, this is another contemporary. I usually don't read contemporary this much, and I've read quite a few romances this month, so I feel like that was kind of wearing on me. I did enjoy this one. I read it on the train from Barcelona to Alicante, which is like 5 hours, and I just basically started and finished it then. It was good. I liked the characters. Tucker as a love interest is just the sweetest and actually doesn't even deserve Gracie. That's how nice he is. And I loved hearing about the fashion design aspirations in it. I love it when characters are ambitious and they've got a career that they want to pursue and they go for it. It kind of makes me think of me a little bit, although I'm not as successful as they have been. And I did enjoy the characters, I did enjoy the story, but it wasn't, again, amazing to me. It didn't have any lasting impact on me. It was just a really fun, nice, summery, contemporary read. So if you like that kind of thing, you'll enjoy this book. All the books that I read in June. I hope I read more in July. We shall see in the next wrap up. Please let me know in the comment section down below what books you've read in the month of June, which were your favourites or your least favourites. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. And it's about... what is the main character's name? Because, well, it's very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I also read In Search for Us. I also read In Search of Us by Ava Delara. He meets Caleb. Oh my gosh, is his name Caleb?